I suppose it comes down to a rather awesome awareness of mortality. To conceptualize our own end creates tremendous psychic strains within us. Whether we like to admit it or not, in each man's chest a tiny ferret of fear at its ultimate knowledge gnaws away at his ego and his sense of purpose. We're fortunate, in a way, that our body and the fulfillment of its needs and functions play such an imperative role in our lives. This physical shell creates a buffer between us and the mind's paralyzing realization that only a few years of existence separate birth from death. If man really sat back and thought about his impending termination and his terrifying insignificance and aloneness in the cosmos, he would surely go mad or succumb to a numbing sense of futility. Why, he might ask, should he bother to write a great symphony or strive to make a living or even to love another, when he is no more than a momentary microbe on a dust mote whirling through the unimaginable immensity of space? Those of us who are forced by their own sensibilities to view their lives in this perspective, who recognise that there is no purpose, they can compensate, and that amidst a countless myriad of stars, their existence goes unknown and unchronicled, can fall prey all too easily to the ultimate enemy. But even for those who lack the sensitivity to more than vaguely comprehend their transience and their triviality, this intuitive awareness robs life of meaning and purpose. It's why the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation, why so many of us find our lives as absent of meaning as our deaths. The world's religions, for all its parochialism, did supply a kind of consolation for this great ache. But as clergymen now pronounce the death of God, and to quote Arnold again, the sea of faith recedes around the world with a melancholy long, withdrawing roar. Man has no crutch left on which to lean, and no hope, however irrational, to give purpose to his existence. This shattered recognition of our mortality is at the root of far more mental illness than I suspect even psychiatrists are aware. The very meaninglessness of life forces man to create his own meaning. Children, of course, begin life with an untarnished sense of wonder, a capacity to experience total joy at something as simple as the greenness of a leaf. But as they grow older, the awareness of death and decay begins to impinge on their consciousness and subtly erode their joie de vivre, their idealism, and their assumption of immortality. As a child matures, he sees death and pain everywhere about him, and begins to lose faith in the ultimate goodness of man. But if he's reasonably strong and lucky, he can emerge from this twilight of the soul into a rebirth of life's elan, both because of and in spite of his awareness of the meaninglessness of life. He can forge a fresh sense of purpose and affirmation. He may not recapture the same pure sense of wonder he was born with, but he can shape something far more enduring and sustaining. The most terrifying fact about the universe is not that it is hostile, but that it is indifferent. But if we come to terms with this indifference and accept the challenges of life within the boundaries of death, however mutable man may be able to make them, our existence as a species can have genuine meaning and fulfillment. However vast the darkness, we must supply our own light. Understanding man's impending mortality and the mission of becoming who you truly are was not only the privilege of a lifetime, but that of the mission for Carl Jung and his personal myth. Jung especially saw the glaring answer of human death and mortality as being made into a catalyst for illness after the pronounced death of God, especially in the expenditure of existential nihilism. But to replace man with the dead God in natural state would only be a process of assimilating the ego with the self. Therefore, other methods for human development were to be necessary. Kubrick, as being evident of his peculiar intelligence, wrote words close to symmetrical to what Jung said in his previous writings. Kubrick said in his interview, "However vast the darkness, we must supply our own light." Jung wrote before the following: "The sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being." Just to end this short video, I want to thank everyone on the kind birthday messages I got a few days back, and I also want to just say that I am planning on writing up a shadow work integration PDF document, which will be free. I don't know exactly when it will be out. It won't be anything very long, but what I will try to do with this is explain ways in which you can do this process, and it will mostly be coming from my own personal experience and analysis. So what I want to make sure is that when I do release it, that no one takes it as hard fact or truth. Hopefully when you read it, if you do, you can find insight and worthy knowledge from the PDF, which you could then transfer into your own life for your own development. What I will probably do is release a video on that when it is done, and then you will be able to download it from my website. It would just be nice to release something which could be substantial to a degree and beneficial to some who read it and use it in their lives. Hopefully that will be the case for you. If you enjoyed this video and found it insightful, make sure to like, subscribe and comment down below to get involved in the discussion. Talking about discussion, you can find a link to the Thoughts on Thinking Facebook group down below, so make sure to join if you want to get involved in conversations about philosophy, sociology, psychology and literature. Make sure to follow my social media such as Instagram and Twitter to keep up to date with everything that's going on, and also Patreon, where you can donate a minimum of $2. Lastly, a quick shout out to all my patrons. Thank you to Daniel Kazmi, The Truthism, Noah Shahad, John Bisham, Richard, Walter, Mark Smith, Maggie DC and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video.